Today, guys, I'm going to be sharing 4 mistakes that I made in 2020. If I could go back in time to the beginning of 2020, these are the things that I think that I messed up on. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because my business and SoberClear, it's all about helping people. So if I can be very honest and very transparent about mistakes that I've made, then hopefully you guys don't go ahead and make the same mistakes. Now, obviously, at the beginning of 2020, I was already a non-drinker. I was already happy with my decision to go through life as a non-drinker. So these mistakes, they're more personal, but I'm 100% sure that a lot of these things are going to relate to you on your journey to either stopping drinking or building that great life without alcohol. So just make sure to watch this whole video because I think there's going to be some really interesting insights that are going to help you. And guys, just before we get into this video, if you want to get access to the new video training showing you how to get 100% control of drinking alcohol using first principles thinking, then make sure to click the link in the description. In that video, I'm going to be talking to you about how I discovered first principles thinking. I'm going to be talking to you about the 5 mistakes that 95% of drinkers make, as well as the 2 phases of becoming sober clear. Guys, you are definitely going to want to check out that video after watching this one. Now, just a tiny bit of context. In the Sober Clear coaching program, I basically formatted a coaching call that was very similar to what I'm about to share with you. What we did is we reviewed 2020. We talked about mistakes that were made in 2020 that you're committed to addressing in 2021. And the reason why I did that call is because I did that with my coaching program. The coaching program that I'm in made me go and look at my version of 2020 and what went wrong with 2020, and then what I'm committed to addressing in 2021 and beyond. So I'm sharing the mistakes that I made in 2020, and I wanted to create it as a video, hopefully to help you on your journey. Now, the very first mistake that I made in 2020 was that my ego actually stopped me from getting help. Now, asking somebody for help takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of confidence. And what you're basically doing is saying that I don't know how to do this alone. Not many people are comfortable doing that. Most people's ego actually stops them from growing. They think that by buying a book or investing in a course or hiring a coach or finding some kind of mentor, they think that they're not good enough. You've got to think of it like this, like the ego can be seen as like a defense mechanism. So it wants to stay strong. The ego wants to grip you and it wants to hold you where you are. It doesn't want you to step outside of the comfort zone. So this was a big problem for me in 2020. Like I'd started Sober Clear, I'd started this business, I'd started getting results for people, started the coaching stuff. But there were so many things that I didn't understand about business and marketing and how to get more customers and how to really grow this business and help more people. Those things, I knew enough, but I didn't know a great deal. So for so long, I thought I can do it alone. I'm fine doing it alone. The results are good. I know how to get results. I know how to do the basics of this stuff, but it wouldn't get me to the next level. I knew that it wouldn't take me to the next level. What I knew right now, it wasn't enough. And for so long, I battled with it. I thought, no, I could do it alone. I don't need anybody's help. I'm good enough. I'm fine. And what my ego did was it really stopped me from going, do you know what? There are so many things that I don't know. There are so many things that I don't know how to do. And to be honest, I need support. My social circle doesn't revolve around people that run coaching businesses like mine. Some of my friends run businesses, but there's nobody that really has the business that I've got, which is helping people, coaching, solving problems, that kind of stuff, right? So I got a lot of friends that don't do this. And my ego just stopped me from getting help. My ego stopped me from going, I don't know what to do, I need help. And what happened in 2020 is at the end of 2020, I said, you know what, enough is enough. Cut the crap, Leon. If you want to grow to the next level, you need to find somebody that's already where you are. You need to find somebody that's where you are and has a system for you to follow. And you've just got to pay the money. You've just got to put your ego aside and just go all in with getting help. And it was one of the most liberating things that I ever did because I'd been sat on one of these decisions for a long time. I've been thinking about getting help. I've been looking at these people that I aspired to be like, and eventually found a program and just said, right, I'm doing it. I'm going to find help. And that was one of my biggest mistakes. If I could go back to 2020, I would have found help on day one. It would have been January 1st, 2020. I'm finding help. I don't want to do this alone. And I would have kind of put my ego aside. I would have said, you know what? Goodbye, ego. Not listening to you today. I'm going to listen to the best version of me. And, there was a lot of anxiety. There was a bit of stress, a lot of uncertainty. It was a lot of money that I had to spend. And I was scared. But that was the whole point. My ego would have kept me scared. My ego would have kept me in that same position that I was in and not allowed me to expand, not allowed me to grow. So that was a big thing. And it was having awareness of the ego and how the ego was just holding me back. The ego was saying, don't do it. Don't step out there. Keep the money in the bank account. You don't need help. You can do it alone. You don't need help. I was just like, I am not listening to that. I am going to find help. And that was a big mistake and something that I addressed in the end of 2020. And I'm just so happy that I did it. I feel so liberated to not have to do these kind of things alone. Now, the second big mistake that I made in 2020 was comparing myself to other people. Now, I do have friends that are entrepreneurs, and everybody's at kind of different levels. And what I would do is I would look at other people's businesses and I'd look at other people's success, and not just talking about business, health, strength, whatever it is, other metrics. And I'd look at them and I think, damn, that person's killing it. And then I'd look at my own life and I'd be thinking, well, why am I not where they are? Really, really, really bad cycle of thought. It does nothing to serve you. Maybe there is an element of goodness by comparing yourself to other people, having kind of benchmarks to aim for, but looking at those people and really asking myself, why am I not where they are? That is a very destructive way of thinking. And I did it in 2020. I've got one friend that runs a coaching business, very successful coaching business, does really, really well, helps a ton of people. And I would speak to him and he's been in the game for a lot longer than me, and his business is a lot bigger than mine, naturally, because he's been doing it longer. And I'd be like, damn, he's doing so well. And then I look at my own business and I'd be like, I'd only just started it. And I was comparing myself to people that were way further ahead. And I think this is also something related to stopping drinking. What people can do when they stop drinking is they start comparing their life to somebody that's not drank for 5 years or 3 years or whatever it is. And that person may be really far ahead, and you may be at ground zero right now, just getting started, just kind of starting to build, starting to get back to the gym, starting to work more intensely, build your relationships back up. You might be at that point and then looking at somebody like that's a bit further ahead than you. So you might be looking at me that looks like they've got the relationship now, the business is performing, the health is better. And you don't want to compare yourself to me. You want to compare yourself to the oldest version of you. And it was the biggest mistake that I made. And what I really started to do this year is not to look at other people and think, why am I not there? Is to look at my own success and my own journey and see where I was 6 months ago, see where I was a year ago, and try to compare myself to that version of me. Is to look at the metrics and look at the things that were happening then compared to what is happening now. So now I can look back at myself and think, I'm comparing myself to the old version of me. Now, if in 6 months' time I'm in the exact same position, nothing's changed or things have gone downwards and I feel bad, it's much better to compare myself to myself rather than compare myself to other people, because other people have got different journeys. Other people have done things in a different way. Other people didn't drink for close to a decade and have to start from ground zero. No, I mean, that's just my story, and it just makes no sense for me to compare myself to other people, just like it probably makes no sense for you to compare yourself to anybody else other than yourself. And it's a destructive way of thinking, and it was a big mistake that I made in 2020 that I'm committed to addressing this year. I think a big part of that comes to, like I said, looking at the old version of you, but it's also a big part of it comes for just being grateful for what you've already got, showing gratitude for what you've got right now, and being really happy with the things that you've already started to create. That's a big thing that I'm committed to doing in 2021, is showing more gratitude for the things that I've already got. Now, the third big mistake that I made in 2020 was making a big focus on the things that are outside of my control. There was a time in 2020 where I really got sucked into the news. I got sucked into the media. I was looking at things related to the coronavirus. I was looking at things related to politics, especially the US politics stuff. And I got really sucked into it, and I was putting so much energy into it. And as you guys may relate, the news is very draining. You put your mental energy into the news is often very depressing. A lot of the news is focused around negative things because those kind of headlines sell. And I was putting so much energy and thought process into it, and I can't control these events. I can't control the coronavirus. I can't control lockdowns. I can't control what's going on in politics. But if you think about the amount of energy that I was putting into it, it just made no sense. It was completely outside of my control. I can't do anything about those kind of things. And I wasn't spending enough time focusing on the things that are inside of my control, which means doing things like making my program better, doing coaching, making YouTube videos, spending time with my girlfriend, focusing on my health and fitness. I'm not saying that I didn't do these things, but I wasn't focusing on them as much as I wanted to. I had this other focus. My mind was elsewhere a lot of the time. And it was something that I really did in 2020 that, if I could have gone back in 2020, I would have told myself, dude, stay away from the damn news. You can't control those things. And what I really did is I started to look at my life in a day-to-day compartment. And all of these things are going on outside of my control. And then I kind of brought myself into the moment and said, well, what changes in my day-to-day routine? And I really thought about it, and I thought, not a great deal. If a lockdown happens, then yeah, my day will actually be, if a lockdown happens in Thailand, then my day will definitely look differently. But at the end of the day, my day-to-day life is pretty much the same. So whilst all this stuff is going on, what really changes in my day-to-day life? Not a great deal. So I really just tried to look at my days in these day-type compartments and just focus on the day. Just focus on what I can do today, not worry about everything that's going on outside of my control, and just focus on exactly what is in my control today. What can I do today to improve my own life, to push my own things forward, to push my own initiatives forward? Whilst all this stuff is going on, how can I just kind of ignore it? What I actually realized as well is that anything that's very important that's going on in the world, that's a major problem or, a major piece of news that comes out, people will typically tell you about it. You'll have a conversation and somebody will be like, oh, did you see XYZ about XYZ? And it will just kind of get picked up in general conversations. So to really find out what's going on in the world that's very important, you don't need to watch the news. You'll just typically get it in conversations. You'll pick up on things. So yeah, that was a big mistake that I made in 2020, was focusing on what's outside of my control. And guys, the fourth mistake that I made in 2020 was not taking action fast enough. It was not making decisions quickly. It was sitting on decisions and just kind of drawing them out. Now, the perfect example was with finding help in my business. I sat on that decision for a long time. I knew I was going to make that decision, but I was just kind of afraid and I stretched it out for a long time. Now, when it came to becoming a non-drinker, doing the first principles thinking, I made a decision, right? I made a very firm decision about what I was going to do next. When I moved to Thailand, I made a very quick and firm decision. I was like, booking my ticket and I'm going. I didn't sit on these decisions. And any big change that I've made, any good thing that I've done, any kind of drastic thing that's happened in my life, it came from making a quick decision. It came from doing it within minutes. It would be like, right, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to do this. And the big mistake that I made was taking too long to make decisions. It's something that I'm really committed to addressing in 2021, and it's to decide things quickly. It's not to sit on decisions. It's to, if there's something that I want to do, I'm either going to do it or I'm not going to do it, but I'm going to make the decision there and then. Because what happens is when you don't make decisions quickly, they draw out. Energy is going towards those decisions and it just sucks. It's not nice to have a million different things that you're thinking about. Just in 2021, I'm deciding things quickly. When I signed up for the coaching program, it was a 20-minute call, and I've paid on the call. Like, he didn't even know. He sent me the link. I'm still asking him questions, and I'm there, and I'm already doing it. I've already sent the payment, and I'm ready. I'm ready to start. I'm ready to get stuck in. Let's just do this. Because I don't want to sit on decisions anymore. I don't want to wait to decide to do things that are important to me. Everything that I've done, if I look back at my life, all the big things, all the good things that have influenced my life, and all the good things that have happened so far came from making quick decisions. And in 2021, that's what I'm going to continue doing. If there's a goal that I've set, I'm going to decide to commit to that goal quickly, and I'm going to take action quickly. I'm going to move towards it as fast as I humanly can. So that is a big thing that I'm going to do in 2021, is making more decisions more quickly and really committing to getting 10 out of 10 in life. I just want to get life as good as I possibly can. And the way that I'm going to do that is through setting goals and making decisions to take action and go towards those goals. So there are 4 mistakes I made in 2020. Don't forget to click the link in the description. If you click the videos on the screen now, you can learn the one thing that got me to stop drinking, as well as some of the major benefits of being a non-drinker. Thanks a lot.